We cannot hear you because I've got it turned off.
Mike.
Yeah.
Hey, welcome back to On the Hunt. Mr. Rick White here is talking to us. He doesn't know what's going on because I didn't tell him because his grill was on fire. I thought it was going to burn down his house.
Are we actually on now or
Yes.
what? Oh, okay. It would have been nice if I had some warning. Okay.
I couldn't tell you because you were trying to put out the forest fire in your grill.
Oh, I was sitting here for the last 5 minutes in this chair. So, anyways,
It's just a joke.
okay,
I
everybody.
apologize. I'm just playing.
All right. Well, all right. So once again, good evening, and we're going to have a little bit of fun here this evening, and we got with it. So, chaos in the studio. But my guest tonight is no stranger to the show, Mr. Mike Mcdonald from Kentucky. Now, before we go any further, I would like to say that Mike and I actually are sharing something in common for once. Mike, you care to guess what that might be?
Mike?
Mike, you there?
Yeah, what'd you say?
I said, well, you and I share something in common for once, and I just wondered if you had a guess to what that might be.
Cooking.
No. We actually, believe it or not, we both know what 50 feels like today. So,
50.
Mike's birthday. No, but in all seriousness, it is Mike's. It's Mike's birthday today. Happy birthday. I'm not going to sing happy birthday. Paul might. He's a little better singer than I am. But
birthday.
well, maybe if
we've
got a yeah, maybe a guest out there could sing it, sing something to Mike that, make up a song. I don't know, but sing something to Mike. But anyway, tonight's his birthday, and Mike hails from the great state of Kentucky, and we're going to talk a little bit about everything. But how you doing this evening, Mike?
Doing pretty good. I feel old.
All right. Well, yeah, I know. So bear with me because I'm going to be doing a little bit of walking. But Mike and I, one of the things we're going to do this evening is we're going to cook a couple of our favorite recipes live on the show. And I'm just going into the house to get my steaks, actually, because we got going, wasn't quite ready. So, but anyways, and Mike, I know you've got something on the grill, and we're actually going to be cooking live. And let me get back out to my grill and I'll show you what I've got. Mike, what do you got going on this evening?
Well, I talked to you earlier and you said you was making some steaks. So what I got going on is I am making a dip, a cheese dip. As you can see, I got some wild boar sausage that I made. and I've got some deer burgers that I made and hunted. This pig actually came from our trip in Florida. First night there when I killed a pig, and I've learned that wild pigs are not the greatest thing to eat, but you can make good sausage with them. So I'm making a
Oh,
cheese dip
absolutely.
to show how to do that.
All right. Well, while you're doing that, I'm gonna show a little bit here. I've got two different dishes going on here. I've got some deer steaks that I just basically marinated in Montreal seasoning. I'm trying to get it on the video here, and then I've got another backstrap here, and Paul has actually filmed this recipe. It's a little bit different, but I used minced garlic, and normally I use blue cheese, but I'm out of blue cheese, so I've got some pepper jack cheese and some Swiss cheese that I've just cut a pocket into it and stuffed it with the garlic and the cheese, and then I've got some toothpicks there just to close it up, and I'm actually going to throw it on the grill as we speak. So I'm kind of doing that right here, right now. So kind of bear with me, and Mike, you can jump in at any time. Oh, I've got that hot, so it'll sear good.
Yep, I'm just cooking
Oh,
this pork down right now. I like to, whenever I make this dip, I like to use, normal people would use regular pork sausage and regular beef, but I like to mix it about a pound of each, and I'll get about 2 pounds of Velveeta cheese. And right now I've got it going. If I can turn this around and you can look if I can find it.
I'm running back and forth and getting the tools I need for my grill. I watched some
So
Mike.
I
Hey,
am,
while we're doing this, because people are probably going, "What in the world are they doing?" Let's talk a little bit about recap the turkey season. How was your turkey season?
my turkey season was great. I can't complain. I mean, definitely there's probably a lack of some birds, and a lot of people are saying they wasn't hearing much, but I had 3 amazing hunts. One in Florida with you, and 2 here in Kentucky. I was actually tagged out the first week, as well as you were, because you was here also, not hunting with me, but a lot of gobbling turkeys, a lot of old birds, not a lot of young birds. I think more of them were older birds this year killed, and a lot of jakes I seen. So it seems like next year is going to be great.
Okay, and I know you've been fishing quite a bit, and I was fishing down with you. My first of all, step back a little bit. My turkey season has been absolutely phenomenal. Everywhere I've gone, I've tagged out, and I've tagged out rather quickly. I've taken a lot of people turkey hunting this year with a huge success rate, and I'm not done yet. I'm actually leaving for Michigan this Friday to hunt with an old running buddy of mine, Mr. Pat Muffler. And then we've got an outdoor writer, Jim Schlender, who's going to be meeting us up there, and we're going to do some hunting. But well, you and I got out and did some fishing, and when I was down there, we caught a lot of crappie. And you've still been out a few times, I think. Are they still hitting as good as they were, or is it slowed down a little bit?
It's slowed down a little bit, but the fish here, they've moved out in a little bit deeper water. We're still catching them. I went last week and we caught several good crappie, but the bluegill were starting to move up, so we were going back and forth. I like fishing for bluegill too, so the crappie are starting to go back down, but they're still catchable. We were catching them on jigs. The fish were staging from probably 10 foot of water, about 8 foot of deep. So if you could find that 10 to 12 foot of water range, they were suspended around 8 foot, um, and biting still pretty good.
Well, that's good. Now, one of the things that I know you like to do in the summer, and you're trying to get me to come down and do it, but you do a little bow fishing as well. Let's talk a little bit about bow fishing. Where are you bow fishing, and what equipment do you need to do it correctly?
Okay, so we're gonna, which I think you're gonna come down and hunt with me. We're gonna be bow fishing the No Name Lake. No, we're
I
actually
got you.
gonna be on the Ohio River. We're gonna be on the Ohio River fishing for big head Asian carp. And the way I like to do it is, of course, we have our Matthews bows out there because that's just what we use. And I've found that these bigger fish, the lazy fish, they like to hang out around barges. and they'll get in behind the barges on the river, and they actually eat plankton and scum that comes off the bottom of those barges. So you kind of just sneak up along the barge, and when you get to the back of it, you hit a light on them, and there's 3 or 4 60, 70-pound fish behind it. And you just hope that everybody don't shoot one at the same time, because it'll be very chaotic really fast.
Now there's lots of different equipment that you can get for bow fishing. My recommendation to those folks out there is just go to Interlock, interlock.com. They have, I mean, not only broadheads for hunting and so on and so forth, but they have a huge array of everything you need to set up your bow, your bow for bow fishing. So if you're looking for one spot to do it, there's one recommendation. I'm sure there's others, but that's just my go-to. And what time of the year is best, Mike? Is it good right now, or do you wait till the water drops a little bit, or?
No, my favorite time of the year is usually in July and August. The hotter, the better. When you get those really hot, humid summer nights, when you're out there and you're just sweating, it's pouring off of your face, that's when those fish are the laziest and the hungriest, and they just seem like they're up better. Of course, we're trying to get them to come up, and we're shooting them in 15 to 20 foot of water because they're sitting underneath the barges. So you don't really want the water down, but you want a good steady current, not real strong current, but good enough to where you can kind of drift with the current to sneak up on the fish, so you don't have to use the trolling motor as much.
I've got some deer right now walking around in the backyard. Hello, guys. But we have
If they only
a
knew it too.
we're going to talk. We're going to talk some cooking. Now, those of you that are watching the show tonight, if you have any questions, fire them out. It's Mike's birthday. Wish him a happy birthday. Paul, you can interject if there's a question, or if someone's saying happy birthday, you can let Mike know. And but we wanted to talk a little bit about cooking, and we kind of jumped into that right away. Brian Caston is one of our field staff members, our pro staff members, and he's a gourmet cook. We're not gourmet cooks, but we don't have the luxury of having Brian coming and cooking for us. So we tend to do our own cooking. And although Mike's a pretty good cook, I'll give him that. But I'm just back over to the grill, kind of checking. Oh, look at that already. Look at that. Can you see that? I mean, these are ready to turn. Now, I don't know about you, Mike, but I like my steak medium rare. That's not everybody in my household. There's some people in my household that like it well done. I'm not a well done steak guy. What about you?
I like mine medium raw mostly.
There you go.
Show it to the grill and take it off.
All right, let's
Especially
talk.
with fish.
We wanted to talk cooking, and we certainly encourage anyone listening out there to share your recipes with us, and from week to week, or when we have the availability, we'll be glad to throw your recipe out there, and of course any questions you have. But what are some of your favorite things to cook? I mean, I like to fire up the grill in the summertime, and I know you do too. So what's your go-to throughout the summer?
Well, one of my favorite things to cook, well, actually two. Um, all we eat here at the Mcdonald household is mostly deer meat. We grind all of our deer up, and you kill 6 to 12 deer a year, just like I do. And you can use burger for many different things. So most of the deer we kill, we take the loins out whole, and we grind the rest into burger. And occasionally we'll keep a steak or a roast. I like to have roast, pot roast. It's good any time of the year. But probably my favorite is I like to take a deer loin whole, and I will take and put, basically just pat it off, make sure there's nothing on it. I don't wash it. I don't soak it in anything. Just get everything off of it, get it clean. A good layer of McCormick steak rub all over both sides. Put it in a bowl, put some Italian dressing on it, let it sit for about 15 minutes, and just cook it medium rare. And to me, if you cook it whole, it's easier to keep it more rare in the middle, where if you take a loin and cut it up, it cooks too fast.
Okay, well that's good. And your fish. Now I know you cook a lot of fish, and I do mine just a little bit different than you do. But what's your go-to there?
When I'm fishing, whenever I'm cooking fish, what I like to do is I'll soak my fish in beer or buttermilk, and I will take Andy's. I use Andy's, and I actually use two different types of Andy's fish mix. I usually mix it a half and half. I probably have, well, if you can see this, I take this gold fish batter, and then they make a white, and I actually will mix the two together. I don't know where it's at now. And basically just soak them in buttermilk or beer, depending on what you have. Put them in batter and just deep fry it. The biggest thing with fishing, with cooking fish, to me, is overcooking them and they start to get chewy. So you just want to cook it until it starts to float and take it off. It doesn't take a long time. I'm gonna put this wild boar in here so I can get ready to.
All right.
Put
Well, I'm
this
going to do
in.
something here right now. I'm going to actually, on the grill here, I'm going to take a piece of this here. I'm going to set it right over here. And we are going to try, and I know I'm trying to film this while I'm doing it here. Gets kind of tough to do. But right here, if I can get that cut, holding the phone in one hand, and all right, this, I'm going to try it right now. This, that's exactly, Montreal steak seasoning. Try it, and I mean that is perfect. I perfect. I would rather just go eat and forget the show now. Actually, so Paul, how we doing there? We got anybody jumping in? Maybe we can't hear Paul. Okay. How old are you, Mike? Are you 50? Isn't it 50, 49, something like that?
Try 41, old man.
Well, there's Paul. I wish I was 41 again. Gosh darn.
Phil
seems like
Smith, he said bow
ago.
fishing is fun.
Well, we might have to take Phil out there with us. I was going to give another little tip. I'm glad you're eating. It's my birthday, and I'm just sitting here slaving away. Basically, I was going to tell everybody, whenever I cook my venison, I don't put fat in it. A lot of people put fat in it. I actually will take a little bit of water and put it in my pan to try to cook it down. So I'm actually going to get a little water because I just took the pork off and put the deer meat in the pan. But I'll put about a quarter of a cup of water, and most of that water will evaporate, but it will actually kind of cook the meat, and you don't have to put beef fat or pork fat in it.
Now, Mike, when you grind your deer burger, do you do anything special with it, or you just grind it straight, or what do you do?
I actually usually grind it twice. I use the bigger holes in the, I don't even know what that piece is called, the cutter, and then I'll run it through a finer one. We like it more fine. To me, it's better if I'm making chili with it. We eat a lot of hamburger helper, tacos, and it's just better to be ground a little bit finer.
I got you. Now, I add generally a third pork to my burger. I like the pork in it. I buy pork butts or shoulder blade or something like that, bone it out. And now when it doesn't have to be exactly a third, but you know, if I've got 20 pounds of deer meat, you got to remember a third is 10 pounds. So some people are out there saying, well, no, that's 50%. No, it's not, because when you're done, you have 30 pounds and a third of it is pork. So that's how I come to that, ratio there. But I like pork in mine. I've tried beef. I've tried, now if I'm making jerky or something like that, I don't add the pork to it. If I'm going to make jerky from like a jerky, ground jerky, then I'll just run it straight. But I do like the pork. It takes a little bit of the gamey taste out of it. Of course, taking the fat out of it will do that too. Mine's very clean, very lean. But that's the other thing. When it's so lean and you try to make burgers out of it, without that pork, it'll tend to fall apart on your grill. So it gives it some of that. Plus, it adds flavor to it. So that's just one of the things I do.
So Ron Toth,
not sure.
Ron Toth, he says bacon and deer meat combination is great.
He's absolutely
So is he
100%
grinding?
correct. I like to take. Go ahead, Mike.
Is he grinding the bacon up with it, or is he just putting?
I'm assuming he's taking a back scrap, cutting a steak out of it, and then wrapping it with bacon. Maybe that's what he's doing. I like to do that. That is an excellent way. And I like to slow cook deer meat. I don't want to get the grill too hot. I like to cook it at a slower rate. That's another thing that I do. But the bacon works really good. Just Italian dressing in your deer steaks or wild turkey and throw it on the grill is phenomenal. There's lots of different ways to do it. I've got a it's a Ninja Foodie, it's called, and it's a pressure cooker / air crisper, air fryer, does it all. And I've actually started to do steaks in the air fryer or air crisper, one or the other, and they turn out phenomenal, almost as good as coming off the grill. I don't know if you've ever tried that.
So
Yeah, I have used the air fryer. I'm not in the picture because I'm stirring this.
So Ron Toth
Mayday.
says when baking fish, try a barbecue chip stuffing.
Barbecue chip stuffing. That sounds interesting. Ron, you're going to have to share that recipe with us. I'm not 100% sure where you're going with that, but it sounds good.
And then Phil Smith says, I sometimes mix hamburger in with my deer.
Yeah, regular hamburger, which is beef, and I've done that. I do like the pork better. That's just me. A lot of people do mix hamburger, like store-bought and hamburger, in with their deer, which also gives it some texture, so it doesn't fall apart, and it also takes some of the gamey taste out of it. So it's another option, certainly. Yeah.
So
one of the things that most people want to use pork fat because pork fat has a lower melting factor than beef. So pork fat will cook down faster than beef fat will.
So Connie Palmer says, with all of your successful hunts this year, along with all the folks that you have hunted with, are there any turkeys left in the woods?
Well, listen, I am hoping that there is some left in Michigan. Other than that, I'm not too worried about it. I don't care. No,
she
I'm
also says,
just kidding. Of course,
I'm gonna reload this. She also says, our world would be a better place if more kids were introduced to the woods.
She has a very good point there. And when I do seminars, and I do lots of seminars throughout the United States and have in the past, I always talk a little bit about taking kids hunting. And I probably said this on the show before. I truly believe this, that kids raised in the outdoors, whether it be hunting, fishing, camping, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, any of that kind of thing, those folks have a better respect for life. I truly believe that. And I see a lot of these kids nowadays getting in trouble. And I'll almost bet you that they probably never spent one day in the woods. So for that, just that one reason, it's worth getting them out there. And there's hundreds of others. So, and I know Connie, and I know her kids were raised up in the outdoors, and they love it. And my kids were raised in the outdoors, and I know Mike, yours were, and they've all turned out just the way we wanted them to. They really did. Mike, how's your food coming?
It's doing good. I was getting ready to show the secret recipe of the cheese dip. I've almost gotten to that point. So basically,
all right, well, I'm just flipping the grill up here and showing you what I've got going on here. Those are sitting up there all ready to go. There's that. Doesn't that look good?
I'm gonna put some barbecue sauce on your phone.
I better get it away from the fire. I'm going to have a warning pop up saying too much heat near my phone.
All right, so I have a little cooking tip. I don't know if y'all seen what I did a while ago. I actually set a paper towel down on my countertop because I was trying to set that pan down because it was hot. and it stuck to the bottom of the paper towel. And then when I stuck it back on the oven, I about had a grease fire. So don't do that. It will stick.
You know,
But
we were in
anyway,
hunting camp. I was going to say, we
go
were in
ahead, tell
hunting
the
camp
story.
years ago, and one of our, Wayne Shaw, he's one of our pro staff guys. A mutual friend of Wayne's and I's. His name was AJ, and he's no longer with us. But I remember we were up at Pete and Carl's up in my place where I hunt in Iowa, and Mike, you've been there several times. And AJ got it. We went to the store. We bought a bunch of groceries, and we bought. AJ brought a frozen pizza. And so he took the pizza out, he threw it in the oven, and about a half hour later, 20 minutes later, all of a sudden I looked over and all the smoke was barreling out of the oven. Like, what in the world? I went and opened it, and here he stuck the cardboard into the oven with the pizza, put the pizza on there with the cardboard and didn't take it off the cardboard and burnt the pizza to a crisp. So, but anyway, hey, when we cook wild game, one thing we don't talk about a lot is the importance of making sure that we handle the game correctly from the field to the home. And, I don't know about you, Mike. Well, I do know because I've been with you, but I mean, I keep my deer, my turkeys, all that as clean as possible. I keep them as cool as they need to be. I cut them up. I keep them clean. Get them into a cold environment, whether it's freezing them or if I'm going to age it. Aging deer is fine, but you have to age deer at the right temperature. You can't age deer in 50-degree weather and expect it to be fine. Now, I have eaten deer, and I'm probably going to have some people go, "Oh, you're wrong." But I've shot deer and cut them up and eaten them the same day. And sometimes, to be honest with you, I don't notice a huge difference between a deer that I've hung and aged for a week or 10 days or 2 weeks than I do eating it the same day. So, that's just me. I don't know. What do you think, Mike?
I think hanging deer does absolutely nothing. And I actually was told that by a veterinarian. Now, I don't know what he knows about meats and fats, but deer don't have the fat. And I guess the meat will break down if you hang beef, but deer is just a different type of texture. And I've ate it both ways, and there's really no difference. The only thing I know is 9 out of 10 people that I try to give venison to, they go, "I don't want it. I've had it before, and it was no good." And typically it's because if you don't process your meat yourself and you take it to a butcher and he hangs it in the cooler of death, so to what I call it, it's going to taste like what it's laying around. It absorbs that. I can't even, the death is what I call it. But I know that my burger coming straight off the deer in my garage and going straight into my grinder tastes just like it's supposed to. And most people that eat it, they're really surprised at the taste, and they're like, "Well, the last time I had it, it didn't taste like that." So the only thing I can say is, if you're able to process your deer and you're physically able to do it yourself. If you can't, take it to somebody that's a good butcher that does quality work and get as much fat off as you can, and just make sure you're getting your meat. A lot of processors, you hear the horror stories where I'm taking my meat to this guy and I don't know if I'm getting my meat back. Well, you may not.
Most of the time you're not. I mean, yeah, most of the time you're not. So you should ask for it, and even then they may not. So, but I would definitely be checking on that. Now, I wish that we were able to get together with all our viewers, so Mike and I could have a chili cook-off, because I make much better chili than Mike. And for some reason, he thinks his is better. But we should do that one of these days.
John Dallas, I know you're around here. Just go ahead and tell him. It doesn't matter if you hurt his feelings now, because he can't get to you. Look,
I think John will.
Here's my secret ingredient for my cheese dip. A lot of people have had like sausage cheese dip. I'm sure you've had it, Rick.
Yep.
But this is what you have to put. I can't get this in front of the camera because it's backwards, but cream of mushroom. You mix that in with your cheese dip and it makes it creamy. You don't taste it. And of course you like mushrooms like I do, but I learned this from a guy, and it is a game changer. I'm going to show you all. Well, let me see if I can.
You know, one thing
Can you
I'll
see
do,
it?
I'll take a. Oh boy, yeah, there you go.
So you can see it right now. It's really starting to
Move it
get
to your
melted
left.
down.
Just there you go. Yep.
But now watch this. I'm going to put this in here. You see what I did? I just basically dumped that can in there.
Lower your camera just a
Hopefully
little.
you're
There you go.
that way.
Yeah,
But
that's good
anyway,
enough. I mean, we can see.
you mix that cream of mushroom in there, and you can notice how it's already starting to get creamier, and it keeps that cheese from getting hard if it sits in here. And look at it; it's just, you can tell by the way it's moving, and you never know that that's in there. But that's a sausage and venison
Drop your camera
dip, and you
down,
can eat.
Mike. Drop your camera. Drop your camera down. Just there you go. There you go. That
Yeah,
looks
I
good. You
didn't
know
want
what
you to
I'll do
see that.
sometimes is fry. I'll fry deer steaks and just butter fry them on a pan, and then dump a can of cream of mushroom soup on it, and it's phenomenal that way as well.
Oh yeah, and
So
I love to do that
how
too.
we
I
doing for?
like everything.
Yep. How we doing for time, Paul?
It is 6:27.
Ah, well, and we wanted to do something a little different tonight. I mean, we've been talking turkey hunting since March, and I know that people are still out turkey hunting, and I am, and I love to talk turkeys, but you know, everybody's probably trying to. What else can we talk about? I tell you what, we're going to get John on one of these times. John makes the best homemade pickles, and he uses those homemade pickles in. He's got a cooker, an Orion cooker. We've talked about that in the past. That cooks turkeys as good as anything out there. But when after we're done eating, he has enough turkey left over generally that he makes a turkey salad, and he puts these pickles in there, these bread and butter pickles, I call them, and it is phenomenal. Mike, you've had some of them, and I've got a jar of his pickles from a year ago still in the refrigerator. He probably doesn't know that, but I don't want him to know because then he won't give me any. So. But
All I care
good
about is
pickles,
that
aren't they?
potato salad. As long as he makes me some more potato salad, I'm good.
Yeah, potato salad and
John's got the
pickles.
best.
But all right, I'm going to go here and open the grill up one more time. And look at that. Look at that cheese rolling right out of there. Look at that. So we are ready to go. I mean, this is done. Look at, oh man, that is absolutely done. I mean, I'm good to go. I'm not sure exactly who our guest is next week. This time of year gets a little bit tough. We've been trying to get Jordan Dean on, but he works for the railroad and he gets called away all the time. Let's see that, Mike. Let's see what you got there. Yeah, that is good. And we could certainly share these recipes. Anybody watching the show, get a hold of us. We tried to make it as simple and easy to do as possible. But anyways, Paul, are there any last minute comments coming in before we sign off tonight? Or
Becky says that she grows her own shiitakes.
she does, and she also has bees. I actually bought a jar of honey from her, and I mean, I'm a honey nut. I love honey nut. There's
For
a
some
great
reason,
name.
I was expecting you to say, I bought a jar of bees. I was like, why?
No, I do actually have bees. Got bees on the property. Teacher that my wife works with has wanted a place to put bees, and so he came and put them on my property here, and it's been fun to watch them. So, but anyways, I love honey, and Becky raises honey, mushrooms. They have cattle. I mean, they've got it all.
Phil Smith says, I've noticed since I started processing my own deer meat that the meat does taste better than taking it to a processor.
Yeah, and not to point the finger at all processors, because there's a lot of honest ones out there, but I think you'll find in some cases when you do your own meat, you'll end up with more deer meat as well. I have noticed that from some of the processors in past years. But anyways, listen, Mike, it's your birthday. Happy birthday. Go enjoy the family. Doesn't look like you're going out to eat. You got enough dip there for a month, so you should be good.
Or at least for the
I
rest
got
of
2
the day.
kids. It'll
All
be
right, and I'm
fine.
going to go.
I'm not so much worried about that. I'm ready to get into this good your Iowa bourbon here.
Kentucky bourbon. There you go. All right. Well, listen, we'll catch up with you here sometime soon. Thanks to Paul for putting everything together. We just wanted to have a fun show tonight, and it was fun. It was fun for me, fun for Mike, and now it's time to eat all the fun that we've had. So until next Wednesday, make sure you're there 6 to 6:30. We'll come up with some kind of great idea, and we'll talk for a half hour. But on behalf of Mike from Kentucky and myself from Iowa and Paul all the way from Arkansas, we'll see you next Wednesday. Good night, everyone.
Take care.